Let's have a little fun with this. When you hear the word Carolina, which one do you think of first? North or South? Tell me who you're rooting for in the comments. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lindsey Vance, realtor with the Living in South Carolina team at Real Broker. On today's episode, we're diving right into the comparison of North Carolina versus South Carolina. But first, if you're considering a move to or from either of the Carolinas, and actually anywhere in the United States, our team would love to help you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, check out some more videos, and reach out if you have any questions or we can help. If you stick around to the end of the video, you'll hear my personal opinion on which one I'm rooting for because I've had the opportunity to live in both North and South Carolina. North and South Carolina are located in the eastern United States, just along the Atlantic coastline. Both states are so lucky to have beautiful beaches, lakes, mountains, and countryside. North Carolina is a bigger state and they have some larger, busier cities. Therefore, the population is a bit higher at 10 million people. South Carolina is just half of that at around 5 million people. However, it's growing much faster than North Carolina. In fact, last year in 2023, South Carolina was the fastest growing state out of anywhere in the United States. Now, let's talk about lifestyle. South Carolina is well known for its slower pace of life and really just easygoing community. It has your classic Southern charm, friendly neighbors, and a community-focused way of living. Whether you're in a small town like Aiken, Lexington, or Beaufort, or maybe one of the larger cities like Greenville, Columbia, or Charleston, there really is an easygoing pace of life no matter where you are in South Carolina. What we consider to be larger cities in South Carolina aren't very comparable to those in North Carolina, though they still offer a lot in terms of culture, job opportunities, and community. North Carolina, on the other hand, does offer a bit more variety of lifestyle options. While you can definitely find the same Southern charm, the state is also home to more urbanized areas like Charlotte and Raleigh, and even Asheville up in the mountains, which each of these offer a faster pace of life and more of that big city buzz. These cities have a cosmopolitan vibe with plenty of dining, entertainment, and job opportunities. Now, all that being said, the larger cities in both states have growing suburbs that really give you the best of both worlds. Having the conveniences of the city, but also a little bit more space and quiet lifestyle. Both of the Carolinas are well known for its natural beauty and the lifestyle around outdoor activities. South Carolina has some of the most beautiful beaches, including Charleston, Hilton Head Island, and Myrtle Beach. And in my opinion, I think South Carolina wins in this category. North Carolina also has places like the Outer Banks, Wilmington, Carolina Beach, and many others. Life on the lake is really popular in both states. South Carolina has 12 major lakes, and a few of them that you might recognize include Lake Jocassee, which is absolutely beautiful, Lake Keowee, popular Lake Murray, and Lake Marion. And again, these are just to name a few. North Carolina has many more, with about 59 major lakes, including Lake Norman, Lake Lure, Lake Mattamuskeet, and many more. Now we're going into a topic that usually is the tell-all on which place you decide to move: cost of living. South Carolina does prove to win a little bit more in this category, and I'll tell you why. No matter if you're looking to rent or buy a home, your dollar can stretch a little bit further in South Carolina, particularly in more of the rural areas or the less touristy spots. For instance, there's a homestead exemption, which is actually different than what you hear in other states, but for South Carolina it means that a resident of the age of 65 years or older can qualify for the homestead exemption. And it actually takes off the first $50,000 from your home value and you're taxed from there. In North Carolina, the amount is only $25,000. So that's a big difference, especially for some retirees. North Carolina, while still more affordable than many other areas in the country, can be a bit pricier in the popular areas. Cities like Charlotte and Raleigh that have seen some significant growth has caused the housing prices to go up a bit. However, the higher cost of living is often offset by the higher average income, especially in the tech and finance sections that are booming in places like the Research Triangle in the Raleigh-Durham area. South Carolina does have a lower cost of living, coming in with a ranking of 21 out of all US states, and North Carolina coming below that at 23. So South Carolina is a bit more bang for your buck. North Carolina does tend to be a bit pricier overall. The increase is largely due to the fact that North Carolina is a bigger state, has a higher population, which typically brings in those higher costs for things like groceries, transportation, housing, and healthcare. If you ask me, I think this section deserves its own video in comparing the cost of living of North Carolina and South Carolina. So stay tuned, we might have that for you. Overall, in this category, South Carolina definitely wins. Cost of living takes us right into our next topic, taxes. And while this is a bit of a subjective topic, I do recommend talking with a tax expert in an area that you're interested in. Now, both states do have some great tax benefits, but there is one state that takes the lead. When we're talking about high taxes, out of all 50 states, South Carolina comes in at number 40. Talk about affordable. Here's a quick breakdown of the tax rates in South Carolina. There's a flat income tax of 7%, no Social Security taxes, a 6% state sales tax, with of course anything tagged on from local municipalities, lower property taxes for real estate, but that typically only benefits primary residents, which has a lower rate of 4% versus 6% if you have an investment property. Keep in mind, you have to apply for that lower 4% tax rate. While South Carolina has proven to have some great tax benefits, coming in at number 40 out of all 50 states, North Carolina is a bit higher, ranking at number 31. Let me break down those tax rates for you. In comparison to South Carolina having a flat income tax, North Carolina actually has a graduated income tax from about 5.25% up to 7.75%. Also similar to South Carolina, there's no Social Security tax. The state sales tax is 4.75%, and again, local municipalities can tag on an additional percentage on top of that. There is higher property taxes, but there's only one rate, regardless of you living in your home as a primary residence or having it as an investment property. So all that being said, regarding taxes, South Carolina takes another win. Moving on to job opportunities. While both states have a pretty equal median household income of around $60,000, North Carolina does come just above South Carolina in that ranking. North Carolina has been attracting a lot of attention in recent years, particularly in tech, finance, and healthcare. The Research Triangle, which includes Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, is a major hub for innovation and has a strong job market, especially for young professionals and those in specialized fields. The South Carolina job market is a little more diverse and traditionally focused on industries like manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism. However, the state is also seeing growth in sectors like aerospace, automotive, and healthcare. If you're looking for job opportunities in any of these fields, or if you prefer a more stable job market without the intense competition you might find in North Carolina, South Carolina could be the right choice. But overall, North Carolina actually takes the win on this one. This next one is one of the biggest reasons why people move to either North or South Carolina, because of the climate and weather. While both of them have a fairly mild climate, there are some major differences that are worth noting. Of course, South Carolina tends to be a bit warmer year-round, So if you prefer that climate, it'll definitely be the place for you. The coastal areas like Myrtle Beach and Charleston, or even Hilton Head Island, have that classic southern humidity, but you typically have a breeze anytime you're near the coast. Then you have the upstate region of South Carolina, which is a bit more of a seasonal variety, being so close to the Blue Ridge Mountains. You might even have a small chance of snow in that region. North Carolina is obviously further north and has a more varied geography, therefore a range of climates. If you like the idea of experiencing all 4 seasons, including a bit of snow in the winter, North Carolina might appeal to you more. The mountains in the western part of the state can get quite cold, while the coastal areas are more temperate. So whether you prefer the beach, the mountains, or somewhere in between, North Carolina has you covered. So while both states offer a really good variety of climates, it's just going to depend on your lifestyle and what you're looking for. I love living in South Carolina, but there are parts of North Carolina that are really great as well. Okay, so let's dive into a little bit of the schools and education for both states. North Carolina has a great reputation, especially for higher education. They have institutions like Duke, UNC Chapel Hill, and NC State that are consistently ranking among the top universities in the country. This actually has a positive impact on public schools in these areas, which makes North Carolina a popular choice for families who prioritize education. South Carolina is also home to some excellent colleges and universities, like Clemson or University of South Carolina. But the public K-12 education system has a more mixed reputation. That being said, there are plenty of great schools in the state, especially in areas like Greenville or Fort Mill, which are known for their strong public school systems. North Carolina does rank higher than South Carolina when it comes to education, and that's because they have higher test scores and a higher graduation rate. But I do think this has something to do with specific location. If schools are important to you and your family, one really important thing to keep in mind is if you have a realtor helping you out with your move, they can't technically tell you if a school is good or bad. So it's really in your best interest to do the research on your own. Check out some school ranking websites that are reputable, but also I recommend joining some local Facebook groups. This way you're able to ask the community itself. No matter where you're moving, I find people have great success in doing this. Okay, now let's do a quick overview of the housing prices in both states. South Carolina does take the win on this one, and that's because the median home price is around $305,000. In North Carolina, that median home price is around $329,000. While South Carolina is lower, it has had more appreciation over the last year than North Carolina itself. Also keep in mind, this is location specific. When you get into larger cities or even a lot of those tourist coastal regions, the price is probably going to go up a good bit compared to some more rural locations. While both states do offer some pretty affordable housing compared to other states in the US, there are some areas in both North and South Carolina that are a bit pricier, and that mostly is because of the demand, or those popular areas, especially on the coast. South Carolina is rich in history and tradition, and I really believe that reflects in our strong sense of community that you'll find here. Festivals, parades, and local gatherings are a big part of life here. And if you're moving from out of state, you'll definitely find that Southern hospitality is very real. North Carolina is equally as rich in history, however, it offers a bit more when it comes to cultural diversity, especially in the larger cities. Charlotte, for example, is a melting pot of cultures and backgrounds, which is reflected in everything from the food scene to the arts and entertainment options. So if you're looking for a place with more of a cosmopolitan vibe, North Carolina's cities might be more appealing. Remember earlier in the video when I said if you stick around, you'll get my personal opinion on which state I'm voting for? Well, here it is. I'm originally from Eastern Pennsylvania, and I still have family living up there. But I spent many of my childhood years in North Carolina and consider that home as well, especially since my mom is still living there. I've been in South Carolina for about 17 years now and absolutely love it and plan to call it my forever home. Now, with all of this being said, I feel like I can give a bit of a personal perspective since I have lived in both North Carolina and South Carolina. Ultimately, it comes down to really what you're looking for in a place to call home. If you value affordability, a relaxed lifestyle, and warmer weather, South Carolina might be your perfect match. But if you're after job opportunities, a bit more of seasonal variety, and a vibrant urban culture, North Carolina could be the better fit. There's not much more you could ask for when it comes to the Carolinas. It's really just picking which one is the best fit for you. You have beautiful beaches, mountains, lakes, and countryside in both states. So you really can't go wrong with whichever state you choose. Now, tell me in the comments, which one are you rooting for and why? I hope you found this video helpful in comparing North Carolina to South Carolina. Thanks so much for watching today. I'm Lindsey Vance, and this is Living in South Carolina.